And it almost never has to do with a legal principle. It's almost always, you ripped the head off my Barbie when I was 7, and I'm still mad at you about that.
I'm Elise Myers. Been at Cohen Pollock Merlin Turner for 3 years, specializing here in probate administration, litigation, and estate planning. Prior to being at Cohen Pollock Merlin Turner, I've spent several years working for probate judges as in the chief clerk position, and also working for a couple of large banks in the fiduciary roles there. Generally, the probate administration and litigation do tend to overlap a little bit. Those clients are coming to you because somebody is deceased and there are assets that need to be administered and distributed to heirs or beneficiaries, whatever the case may be. Of course, there's always most of the ones that I touch, there's some hiccups from small ones to really large ones along the way. So the process it just sort of depends what the assets are and what the issues with the estate are. If it's cleaner, start to finish, we come in, we do an intake, we file a petition in the probate court. We manage that petition all the way through, start to finish. And after that is completed, there's always some cleanup that goes with the estates, whether it's, receipt and releases, running notices, just the tactics of running an estate. Litigation kind of runs with the same outline that I just said, but there's a whole lot more in the middle than that 1 second that I just sort of yada over.
I'm Kevin O'Sullivan. I'm a partner in the litigation section. I'm head of the litigation section. I've been a litigator for 27 years. All I do is trust, estate, and probate litigation, including guardianships, conservatorships, anything to do with probate. I practice almost exclusively in the probate court, doing will disputes, trust disputes, beneficiary disputes. It's all about families, and families can be really nasty to each other. So I handle the yada yada part that Elise referenced, and it is pure litigation. It's dispute resolution. We are working to get the family members to a place where they can stop fighting and move on. Part of the challenge, one of the biggest challenges we have is that, as Elise said, in basically every one of these cases, someone has died. So everyone is under a lot of stress in the first place. And then you overlay the dispute on top of that, and it almost never has to do with a legal principle. It's almost always, you ripped the head off my Barbie when I was 7, and I'm still mad at you about that. So it's more about family counseling than legal counseling. And this is what we do every day. It's not a pure legal question. It's almost always, where in the birth order did you fall? And, the oldest sibling thinks they should have been made the executor because they're the oldest. So this is what we do all day, every day. It's really resolving family disputes. As I said, not necessarily resolving legal disputes. It's just that the family is using the judiciary to hack out their personal beefs with each other. Many of these, if they had gotten to me sooner, we could have probably not necessarily eliminated, but mitigated the dispute. But I do handle a good number of instances where somebody comes to me and says, I think there may be trouble brewing on the horizon. Can you help me with that? And we do that. And that is when the reason why Elise and I don't typically work together on many of those is if they come to me and there is the trouble brewing on the horizon, I typically don't get Elise involved unless it becomes, disputed, litigation. It is a family dispute, but they still need a lawyer, because once you get into that situation, the family dispute is either headed toward or already in the courts. And you need the lawyer to develop your leverage to resolve the family dispute.
This is, it's kind of classic family law. You don't think of this area being family law, but it's not so dissimilar from a divorce matter. It would be like going and doing a divorce by yourself. People can do it. They don't do it very often, and it's not very easy. So mediator is not quite the right word. Referee, the attorney can serve as the referee. There's a lot of things that they can resolve at home, but they're not going to. There's a level of distrust that comes in. I've told you everything. No, you haven't. I know you haven't. So there is a need for some refereeing that goes on there. Did want to kind of add in a goodwill does always help in these situations, because it's, your wills kind of lay in the ground rules for your game. It's easier to referee when you have a goodwill. It does help. So even if you have distrust or, tough family dynamics, a goodwill helps because the rules are laid out so much cleaner when you go into the game. If it's really disputed, they can make some agreements otherwise, but it should follow the terms of the will. If the will was done well and done right, it will follow the terms of the will. That won't, the terms of the will won't be in dispute. Does that make sense? Rather than disputing about those terms. So it's really helpful, but no, it doesn't necessarily have to follow the terms of the will. And often it doesn't. If you're really, again, think of those long drawn out divorces, you're in it, and there are other agreements that you can make.
And even if the documents are airtight, you still can't prevent an agitator from agitating. And it's unfortunate, but even if the will or the trust is seamless, somebody can still, come out of the woodwork and say, essentially, they can say lots and lots of things. What they're really saying is, I want more money. But that the airtight documents won't stop them from doing that.
Also, to the effect of an agitator, a lot of what we see here, unlike the classic family law, when you think of that topic, there is a death here. And I feel like a lot of our clients delay their grieving process and instead take on this task instead. And if that's who you're opposing here, that's a big hurdle to overcome, because this is what they're giving all of their energy and all of their attention to, because they don't want to give any of their energy and attention to that grieving process. They would rather, this is very here and now. This is a great distraction, and people get very, very locked in on that.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate, because then it's about the fight.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to resolve anything. They just want to keep fighting. And a lot of it is avoidance, and a lot of it is just decades old family grievances. It's a lot of sociology and emotional interaction between family members, again, that doesn't have anything to do with any legal principle. Family grievance is a family grievance. My sister still holds a grudge against one of my brothers because he tormented her when she was little, and she's 60. So these things just stick with you. And what we do is a mere outlet for these grievances. It's going to be something, right? It's going to be, an argument at the family picnic or whatever. This is just a more full-blown, expensive, protracted version of that argument at the family picnic.
It's years of family dynamics. There's always a lot of distrust. A classic litigation matter is going to be, probate is filed. And somebody files a petition for accounting, which says, I want you to tell me about all the assets and all the money. And you hire the attorney and you give them a beautiful accounting. This happens many, many times. And the other side says, that's not all the information. I know it's not. And it just keeps going from there. And it does. It feels like kids fighting when they're little. That's not true. What? Okay. What else is there? And that's where the psychology sort of lays on top of it, because it's not just providing the answers. The other side has to accept the answers, and everybody has to accept where we're going to go forward from here.
Yeah. And it is a sociological process, and it is not rational. So where we come in is, we as the attorneys develop the legal leverage to get the thing resolved. If you don't resolve it, then this is going to happen to you and you're not going to like it. Right. Again, it's family dynamics. It's like dealing with a toddler. I say this all the time. You set boundaries and you say, if you go past this boundary, a bad thing is going to happen to you. And then they go past the boundary and the bad thing happens. And they're like, why did this thing happen to me? And I say, I told you it would happen, but you did it anyway. By the time it gets to us, something has gone amiss.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get any happy beginnings at all.
Even my clean probate administrations are with me because might be a problem that comes up in them, and you can tell at intake, like, well, that's the will wasn't witnessed properly. We'll start there, or the will was done 3 weeks before this person died. That's always a big red flag. A nice fresh will and then immediate death. Something's probably happening there.
We also don't get any happy endings. What we get is endings that people can live with.
We get endings.
We get endings, right. And this is why, at every juncture during the dispute, we make an effort to get it resolved without having to involve us further. Basically, our job is to get to the point where we aren't needed anymore.
I say that constantly. I'm the worst salesman in this firm.
Right.
Like, I want you to get rid of me as quickly as possible.
Right.
Let's get rid of me. Let's get to something, a resolution that you can live with that gets rid of me. I gotta go.
Right.
And I have people like call and sort of kick the tires too. There's always some discussion about how you might consider proceeding if you say somebody's still alive, how you would consider proceeding at this point so that you don't have to engage me later because you don't want to. It's not ideal.
Right. I always say that we're the type of lawyer that you don't want to know. And our job, which, coincidentally is required by the ethical rules, is to get us out of the picture, get the dispute resolved, get the family moving on. And I say this to clients a lot. You as a family can't start the healing process until this is over.